if there was one gift our Creator has given us, what is it? What is the one power that you have right now in this moment that can change everything? This one singular individual power that can change anything in our life, regardless of what's happened to us. And I know you know the answer. The answer is the power of choice. The one thing we have in this world is we can't control the events, but we can choose what to focus on, we can choose what things mean, and we can choose what to do.
An enterprising person is one who sees opportunity in all areas of life. To consistently take advantage of the opportunity that you've created. To be aware, to face life with your eyes and ears open to the possibilities that may be just around the corner.
Your attitude can have a greater impact on your success than your IQ. You can be extremely talented, have incredible potential, but if you don't have the right attitude, it will keep you from rising higher. And we spend all kinds of time and money making sure the outside looks good. Eating right, working out, and that's all fine. But too often, we're not spending any time on the inside.
There are only 86,400 seconds in a day. And you gotta not only operate in them, you gotta do it quick. You gotta do it fast. You gotta do it in a hurry. Why? Because there's somebody else who's on the same track you are. Somebody else, they're on the same path that you are. It's somebody else just like you trying to do it. And sometimes they're working just as hard as you're working. They're putting in just as much sweat, just as much tears, just as much blood. But you just gotta do it what? You gotta do it faster than they do it. You gotta do it quicker than they do it. Are you listening to what I'm saying?
If you have a scarcity mindset and you just have your hand closed and you're trying to hold on to what you got because it's the only thing that you got and you don't want anyone else to have it, he said every time an opportunity comes by that closed hand, you miss the opportunity because you're holding on to what you have that's so important that you're not willing to let go and see something that could be bigger or better. And we just need to be open-handed.
A lot of us never accomplish our mission because we will not be honest about our motives. So we'll say what we think we should want. And that's why we never get anywhere in prayer and why we never get anywhere in self-awareness.
Since we cannot change the circumstances, but we can change ourselves. We can change what we do. What you have at the moment, you've attracted by the person you become. If you will change, everything will change for you. You don't have to change what's outside. All you've got to change is what's inside. To have more, you simply have to become more. And then he said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Start working on yourself, making these personal changes, and he said it'll all change for you.
How to live a good life. And that's where I want to start. And it'd be really interesting to hear your definition of like what kind of life and way of thinking should we be aiming for?
Yeah, well, it's a hard question because my notion of human well-being is really open-ended. I don't think we understand what the horizon is, if in fact there is one, for kind of ultimate flourishing of conscious minds. We have a pretty good sense of what we don't want and are right not to want. We don't want to be terrorized and depressed and finding ourselves constantly in conflict with strangers, finding our aims frustrated. The generic situation we want to find ourselves in more and more is to effortlessly cooperate with creative and happy strangers, right? There's 7 billion of us. We need institutions and laws and norms and ways of thinking that take the friction out of pleasurable and non-paranoid interaction with strangers. It's not just about having 5 or so close friends who have your back, right? Clearly we're all on the same team on some basic level. And if we can't figure out how to build a civilization where everyone thrives to some degree, we'll have the world we currently have until it becomes unsustainable. Because we're in a situation now where I think it's reasonable to worry that our default state of partisanship and tribalism and rational fear of the incompatible aims of other groups and other people is unsustainable in the presence of more and more destructive technology. I think we have to get our act together psychologically and socially in a way that we haven't yet.
All right, then talk to me about weakness. One of the things that I found so extraordinary about your story and how you got started with Michael Jordan is that you wrote to every player on the Chicago Bulls except Michael Jordan saying, hey, I can train you, but only Michael reached back out. Like, that to me is such a signal to what greatness is. Why, when he was already on the path to being one of the greatest players in the NBA, why do you think it was him that reached out?
Well, you just brought up the weakness point. He recognized he had a weakness. Not a flaw, he had a weakness. And he said, I must figure out how to make this weakness my strength. Now, what a lot of individuals do is they'll take their weakness and make it into their strengths, but they stop working on their strengths and they don't advance all of those things. That's a very key component there. Recognize your weakness. Recognize what you're not good at, what you're not talented at. Do you have the ability to raise that level? And there's some things most people just don't. A lot of the weaknesses you can work on, but there's some weaknesses that are just your weaknesses. Now, how do you work with those things? You find individuals around you who have your weakness is their strength. And now they can carry you or carry the team, carry the staff, whatever you need in order to still get that win. And we're so worried about hiding our weaknesses and denying the weaknesses from ourselves and from other individuals. And a lot of people won't identify them because they get very emotional. When you talk about an individual's weakness and you tell them, there becomes a lot of emotion. First time they do is, that's not my weakness. How dare you say that? They get very defensive. They get very, very defensive. And everyone says in any relationship, whether in business, personal, everybody wants the truth. They'll say, please be honest with me. Well, your weakness, when you tell somebody about their weakness and you're being honest with them, they think you're attacking them. All right. And the reason most people feel like you're attacking them is because the individual that's identifying your weakness has the same weakness as you do. And they don't deal with it, but they want you to deal with it because they're hoping if you deal with it, you can help them. And the best way to turn a weakness into a strength is very simple. Find individuals who your weakness is their strength and find out what they did or how you can associate with that individual.
We suffer on all different levels of suffering. Some people suffer on a high level, some people suffer because is the job going to get done? You have these moments of suffering, no matter if it's 5 minutes of suffering or an hour of suffering or months of suffering. Some people lose a relationship and they suffer for years. And if you can limit the time you suffer, the more you can work on the solutions that better your life.
Life is bounded by mortality, but that doesn't mean that you don't get out there and contend. And you develop by contending, and you minimize the net amount of suffering in the world. And that's something, man. That's something to do.
If you want to be great, the burning sensation is you having to accept that you fucked something up, not as far along in the journey as you want to be, and what you have to learn how to do. If you want to be great, you have to learn to let it burn.
It's an opportunity, and the opportunity is on many levels to rethink your life, to rethink your values, to rethink where you're going, to rethink what your career should be, what your relationship to other people should be. It's a time to reorient yourself to who you are and what you like and what what your goals are and what makes you unique. If you take that attitude, then the obstacle is the way. If you have that attitude where obstacles are actually the path forward, nothing's going to stop you. But it's all how you look at things. It's kind of a mental process that you switch to seeing the positive side.
And you have to own all those things that people may have done to you. Now it's yours. You got to own it. It's yours now to fix the problems that people did to you. It makes no sense. It's not fair. I get it. But if you live in that woe is me mentality of guess what? My dad did this to me. My mom did this to me. People who bullied did this to me. You're going to always live right there. You have to figure out ways to move forward because you're not coming back.
And if we are conditioned, if we've conditioned ourselves to believe certain kinds of things, and one of the things that we kind of believe and hang on to and live with is this whole idea that all of the things that happened to me in my past are what are keeping me from doing what I'd like to do today.